bill that would promote more equality among the sexes. It includes everything from increased paternity leave to female quotas in male-dominated professions. The bit of the bill that's drawing the most attention so far, a clause that changes the wording of the 1975 law that legalized abortion in this country. Women could from now on simply ask for one and no longer have to claim that their pregnancy put them in a situation of distress.
French anti-abortion protesters turn out in Paris in Spanish colours. France's neighbour is to vote on a law in Madrid tightening access to abortion. Meanwhile, on Monday, the French Parliament is to debate a new law liberalising further France's abortion regulations. Conservative French groups fear termination will become an a la carte method of contraception, but say it's not too late to turn back the tide.
No law is irreversible. Spain has just shown that. Spain is not outlawing abortion, but limiting its application to cases of rape and health risks. It will be the same thing with us. Just like with gay marriage, we are going to repeal the gay marriage law.
The new amendment would stipulate that a woman no longer needs to prove she's in a situation of distress to terminate her pregnancy. Medical pressure aimed at getting women not to have abortions would also be penalised. The government is trying to iron out irregularities in the existing laws, which date from 1975. But protesters say it's an incitement to terminate pregnancies.
I found myself in this situation where I almost had an abortion. The reason was I already had 11 children. I'd had a lot of children and I was tired of it. And everyone, the doctors included, were telling me to have an abortion.
The abortion debate extends far beyond either Spain or France. Last October, the European Parliament approved the right of medical personnel to refuse to carry out abortions.
Let's go to the National Assembly and Socialist Member of Parliament Axel Lemaire, who represents the French abroad in Britain and Northern Europe. Thank you so much for joining us. Like we said at the outset, there's a lot in this new bill, not just abortion, but let's just talk about it on the tails of that report on the demonstration on Sunday. It seems as though that is a minority point of view and that you have support across the aisle when it comes to the issue of abortion more generally.
Well, I think we have the support of the French population in general. According to an official poll that was published at the end of last year, 75% of the French people are in favor of abortion rights. I'm not sure to that point if the opposition, which is composed of the main right-wing political parties, will support the suppression of that notion of distress in the text. I suppose they will be split just as the conservatives in Spain are currently split on the subject, which will be interesting to acknowledge given that they probably do not represent the reality of the vast majority of people, including half of the French women who have at least once in their life recourse to abortion.
What's your reaction to what's happened in Spain?
Well, I'm surprised by the extent of the restrictions that the Conservative government, led by Prime Minister Rajoy, wants to introduce that bill, and I'm not too surprised by the reactions in the population, including within the political ranks. I think in France there's a minority that has been around for a very long time. They're actually the same kind of people who were against abortion rights 40 years ago when the initial bill was voted in 1975, but they are a minority. It's important to understand that they do not represent the majority of views in this country.
Axel Lemaire, the bill, like we were saying, has a lot more in it, including increasing paternity leaves from 15 days to 6 months. The issue of paternity leaves is an important one in a country where when we see the debate about retirement benefits, it turns out a lot of women have less retirement because they've taken more time off to have children.
Exactly. Actually, the duration of the leave is extended, but that concerns the parental leave for it to be shared both by the mother and the father. The paternity leave itself is not extended. It still is 11 days, but the parents are now in a position to share the parental leave. So instead of lasting 3 years, it's going to be 2.5 years plus 6 months to be used by the other parent. Yes, the idea behind this is to encourage fathers to share more responsibilities at home, to be in charge of young children from their young age, but also for women to return on the job market at an earlier stage, because all the studies prove that the longer they stay out of the market, the more difficult it is to then return on the market and find a job.
You're talking about finding jobs. Perhaps what could be in the long run the most controversial part of the bill is more hirings in certain male-dominated sectors, including such things as construction. Does this mean that France, where quotas are anathema, is that what the bill says, that there will be quotas from now on in those sectors?
No quotas in the construction sector. No, but there is one article in the bill that says that companies, so just corporations, will not be allowed to try to win a contract with the state, with a public authority, so a public market basically, if they do not abide by their obligation to start negotiations, internal negotiations within the company with their representative unions concerning the issue of equal salary between women and men. So you see the link with the construction sector is remote, but still companies will not be able to contract with the state in that sector if they do not respect the new dispositions in the law.
François Hollande's predecessor, Nicolas Sarkozy, conservative, got roasted by a lot of people in France for proning in certain areas positive discrimination. But in fact, this bill, does it not say that, in fact, that you do need to redress the equilibrium by a bit of positive discrimination in favor of women?
Yes, well, the first bill that was introduced in this matter was a bill passed in 2000 under a socialist government when Lionel Jospin was prime minister. It is true that in other fields of society, including in the top management positions in private companies, especially in the companies belonging to the CAC 40, which are the most powerful French multinationals, well, it's under Nicolas Sarkozy that a bill was introduced in order to impose quotas on the boards of those companies. But at this stage, the bill is not sufficient to guarantee equality, so we're reinforcing those quotas, but also introducing quotas in other sectors of society, including associations of sport people in the cultural sector, in really all kinds of fields, so that equality between women and men can be everywhere.
All right, so a case perhaps where you do need to redress the equilibrium. Final question for you. I read an interview with the Minister for Women's Rights who's pushing the bill, and she issued a call for review of TV programming that reinforces sexist stereotypes, especially programming targeted at children. There again, how do you legislate on that?
Well, it's tricky to legislate on a subject that belongs more to a kind of culture. So we do it through two tools. The first one is a program that has been agreed with the education minister. It's called Les Abécédaires de l'égalité, and its aim is to introduce the teaching and the training of teachers on how to sensibilize young children to equality issues so that they're able from an early age to identify possible discriminations. That's one thing. And then in the cultural sector, especially for television channels, well, they will be, let's say, strongly encouraged by the public authority overruling the whole television system and programming to try to guarantee equal representation of women and men and to fight against sexism in television programming as far as possible. So, of course, it's not something that can be identified in a scientific way, but there will be strong incentives for the channels to respect those objectives.
All right, Axel Lemaire, many thanks for joining us live from the French National Assembly on day one of the discussion on that bill. Stay with us, much more to come here on France 24. We'll have more news on the way. Business will be coming up as well, and then we'll have all the latest sports news in business. We'll be telling you about Peugeot saying out with General Motors, in with China's Dongfeng. Stay with us.